I was searching for a story today, and I actually found something tucked away under all the political stories about who was going to win the House, right? But I found this article in which a U.S. judge in Texas has blocked Biden's plan to cancel student loans. Now, you might know the student loan forgiveness, that is, right? You might know that the student loan forgiveness plan was on hold as a lawsuit was brought to the courts. The lawsuit was about the fact that forgiving student loans would harm others. As I explained a few weeks ago, the student loan forgiveness was done without an act of Congress, but instead it was done with the stroke of a pen by Biden. He claimed that under the Emergency Powers Act of COVID, he can use what is known as the HEROES Act to forgive the student loans. The HEROES Act gives broad powers to those in need during war. He connected the dots and claimed that he can forgive the student loan under the guise of war against COVID. Well, this act has stipulations that says if the act causes if one thing in the act causes another one to suffer, then the suffering party either needs to be made whole or the first act could not be carried out. So, some Republicans filed lawsuits stating that taxpayers would be harmed, as well as the loan servicing companies who made money servicing the payments would be harmed. So, because this is such a vague lawsuit, it was thrown out. Well, the plaintiffs kept bringing it to higher and higher courts, and basically they were trying to get the plan. They actually ended up getting the plan to forgive the student loans on hold for now. Now, just so you guys know, I've said this before, I was happy for the people who got the forgiveness, and I explained it was because I hated the whole student loan process of lending money to someone who doesn't understand money at all, and then delaying their payments for 4 years while it accrues interest, all in the sake of not disappointing their parents by going to some overpriced, under-delivering school. With that being said, I was also pissed that Biden used the emergency powers granted to him by the scamdemic and abused them for this purpose. Well, apparently there are others who felt the same way. While people were arguing about the possible damages this has on others, like the taxpayer and the loan servicing company, and another group of Republicans filed a lawsuit that Biden does not have the power to do this, and it's unconstitutional. Ooh. So District Court Judge Mark Pittman, of whom the case was brought to, said this: "In this country, we are not ruled by an all-powerful executive with a pen and a phone. Instead, we are ruled by a constitution that provides for three distinct and independent branches of government. Pittman has effectively canceled the student loan forgiveness program, at least for now. And he did it with sound reasoning. I'm sure this will be working its way up to the Supreme Court, and we already know the Supreme Court is not going to let this pass. Biden basically cheated the system to try to accomplish a campaign promise. Of course, he also did this to buy votes in the midterm. I don't actually think it swayed many voters into voting Democrat, but that was the plan. Now he has to save face. Of course, we will hear about this as all the Republicans' fault, and if they would have just left it alone, blah, 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 student loans will be canceled. No, Biden, it's about the Constitution. We have a set of rules to follow. Like the rules that they still use in Florida. You and your lefty cronies are not dictators no matter how many votes you received, real or not real. You have to follow the rules of law written by the founders of this country. So we wait and see if the forgiveness will be forgotten or overturned. Meanwhile, the student loan forgiveness website is still taking applications, and millions wait to hear their fate on this program. I got to tell you, I'm just blown away by this, and the fact that half the people out there still think they're getting their student loan forgiven, and they already think they've gotten it, and they're not going to get it, and it's a nightmare.